All right, so welcome to another episode. We're going to start right where I left off last. This will be the second video in the topic on NTP, AAA, and SNMP. So I will make sure to share my second screen this time instead of my first screen. And I think my icon, where you can see me, just automatically populates in the upper right-hand corner if I don't have it on the second screen. But I'd rather have that go wrong than anything else. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to increment the video number because this is spilling into a second video. That's totally fine. So I'm just going to keep the links I had before. Actually, why don't I just do this, because this will be, I think, a little bit easier to manage. So I'm going to have that be first video, and then I'll make a second entry for the second video. So I've got individual things per video. So right here, I already have where this is going to start. So it's going to be configuring NTP boot server in the help menu. So help. And topic is the one that has a more verbose explanation. I remember that through a mnemonic, thinking of T in topic standing for talk. It has a lot to talk about, whereas reference is just a quick reference. Okay, so here's where we left off last. This section includes the following information: configuring the NTP boot server, specifying a source address for an NTP server, configuring the NTP time server and time services, configuring NTP authentication keys, configuring the router to listen for broadcast messages, configuring the router to listen for multicast messages. So this is configuring the NTP time server and time services. When configuring NTP, you can specify which system on the network is the authoritative time source or time server, and how time is synchronized between systems on the network. To do this, you configure the router to operate in one of the following modes. Client mode. In this mode, the local router can be synchronized with the remote system, but the remote system can never be synchronized with the local router. Symmetric active mode. In this mode, the local router and the remote system can synchronize with each other. You use this mode in a network in which either the local router or the remote system might be a better source of time. Symmetric active mode can be initiated by either the local or the remote system. Only one system needs to be configured to do so. This means that the local system can synchronize with any system that offers symmetric active mode without any configuration whatsoever. However, we strongly encourage you to configure authentication to ensure that the local system synchronizes only with known time servers. Broadcast mode. In this mode, the local router sends periodic broadcast messages to a client population at the specified broadcast or multicast address. Normally, you include this statement only when the local router is operating as a transmitter. Server mode. In this mode, the local router operates as an NTP server. Note, in NTP server mode, the Juno software does not support authentication. The following sections describe how to configure these modes of operation. So let's do it in client mode. And I could see also on the test them wanting it to be in server mode. So I'll do both of these. And it looks like I'm going to have to do Juniper. I wish there were a way to search in the, just on the CLI, but it looks like, yeah, so we've got a perfect match here. Oh, it looks like it's a little bit different. Remember that this this OS that I'm using in the lab is version 17. They're currently going to be testing on version 19, so it's going to be a little bit out of date. So I'll get rid of these links, everything here, because that was in the other one. The tags, I think, are still correct. So I'm going to be going off of this documentation. So we've got to specify the address, and I have done a lot of this already on CP2. So NTP boot server, perfect. And we've got an IP address as well. So let's see, show system NTP. Okay, so show NTP associations. Nothing received. Show NTP status. Again, nothing received, so we're definitely having some issues we'll need to figure out. So figuring the router or switch to operate in client mode. To configure the local router or switch to operate in client mode, include the server statement and other additional statements. That's interesting that you would include the server statement to have it operate in client mode, but that makes sense because you've got to point it at a server. So let's point it at that server that I had used before. So before, oops. So before I had pointed it at this server, but I used this command boot server. So I wonder if I were to reboot this, it would do that, but that's a little bit too much time lost for me. So I'll just use the other command. And let's take a closer look at that boot server command. So server to query during boot sequence. We didn't go through the boot sequence, so we're not going to be using that server. We've got to use a different command so we can start using it right away. So let's just do server. And we're going to be using the same server. Perfect. Hopefully that works. I will try pinging that address. Aha. Oops. So it looks like I'm not able to ping that address. We did get a number of syslog messages since I enabled syslogging for NTP. We're getting this interesting message saying the wrong time. Looks like I'm not able to ping the address here. So myself, but I can't ping that remote address. Here. So that's clearly going to be a problem. Let's try the Google NTP server. So this is kind of a good lesson in just basic networking because show route. Oh, I do have a default route. I thought I didn't, but it looks like I did get a default route. So I guess I'm not sure why I can't even ping like 8.8.8.8. I know this was a topic on 960 anyway. So for VPNs, there's a whole topic on it, but this is just without a VPN. I just want basic connectivity to the internet from my device, and you can see I do have it hooked up, and I did get a DHCP address. So I'm not sure what the issue is. I do see that I have a gateway of last resort, and when I ping, the message is not no route to host. The message is a timeout. So the issue isn't that I can't, that I don't have valid routing entries. So yeah, I guess I'm not sure what the issue is. What if I specify the source address? Still nothing. Okay. So what if I do a trace route? Doesn't even get beyond my own router. It doesn't even go one hop. So I probably can't even ping that address there. Nope, I can't even ping my default gateway for some reason. So maybe there's something wrong with the cloud here. I guess I'm not sure what's going on because I'm pretty sure if I were to just put a Ubuntu Docker guest and hook that up instead, then I would have internet connectivity, but we'll see. So I guess it doesn't have the IP address yet. It is receiving packets, so hopefully some of those are DHCP packets. Yeah, it looks like it's just giving me all the output when I do a pipe grep on there. It's kind of strange that it's not allowing me to trim down that output. I mean, I can always redirect it to a file. Oops, or not. Yeah, it didn't allow me to redirect. I guess when you just get help through a help menu like that, you can't trim down that output. So yeah, I guess I'm not sure why I'm not able to reach out to the global internet from the lab here. I thought it would be nice and easy on the Ubuntu server, but I'm going to have to look closer into how to configure that. I know there's the cat etc network interfaces file. I can do that. Let me do that. So and buys and I need to do sudo. I didn't even do sudo. Sudo, and I'll use nano to make it easier on myself. Oops. Oh, don't have sudo. Okay. There we go. So we're going to do auto, and then we're going to do so this is part of the static config. It uses some of the same commands that are in the DHCP config, but we're going to be using DHCP. Perfect. Exit, yes. Excellent. So now I have config. I believe it needs to be, yep, it needs to be restarted. So I have down ETH0. Okay, so hopefully that was it. All right, so there's one tried and true way I can do to restart this. I have the luxury of doing this since I'm in Ubuntu Docker guest, but I can do shutdown R for restart now. Oops, that doesn't work either. Let me just do a Google search. See, that's why I find Linux to be difficult sometimes, because sometimes the command you've used 1,000 times just doesn't work in your distro. The commands you can and cannot use are dependent on the distro you are using. And in a case like this, where it's a lab and I just pull in whatever I want, whenever I want, I'm going to be using a lot of different kinds of distros. So it looks like this command actually is here. Try this. Well, I'll just reboot it. That's the easiest way. It should happen pretty fast. Oh, that could be a reason too. I'm no longer cabled up. I would bet that's the only reason I wasn't working. So hopefully this will turn green soon since it's a reboot. And it's just a Docker container, so it should be pretty fast. But it failed to get a DHCP release, unfortunately. So still dead in the water, even though I've got a DHCP list on the Juniper. So not sure what happened there. But let's swing it back over to the Juniper. Forget about that for now. That was just to test if it would be easier. Looks like the issue extended over there as well. Yeah, so I don't have internet connectivity. Not sure why at this point. I'm sure it's something easy though. If I think about it, I'll probably figure it out. So I need an address. Got one through DHCP. I need a default gateway. I've got one here. But I need reachability to my default gateway. And that's what I don't have. So I've got all the pieces of the puzzle, but instead of playing the puzzle on a dinner table, I am playing the puzzle while I am falling off a cliff. So yeah, for some reason it's not able to connect. And I have a feeling it's because I just recently restarted this. So yeah, cloud nodes. It could be because my main server doesn't have internet access or something because it's on port 80 or something. That could be it. That my server itself doesn't have internet access. Yeah, because port 80 is in use. So I guess I'll take a look at my servers. It's kind of disappointing that it's not working, but there are going to be some challenges with starting fresh, which unfortunately is what I had to do. All right, so let's go on the console of the actual GNS server, GNS3 server, and see if this server has access to the internet. Yeah, so test internet connection. Connection to internet, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what testing criteria it used, so I'll just do an extra ping just to be extra sure. Yep, so I can see it's super blurry for me. Can't really see it very well, but I can see that the pings are successful. Yes. Oops, now I can't read that at all, but I'm going to need to because I need to bring the GUI back up. So sudo DNS3 restore. There we go. I want that GUI back. So the server itself has access to the public internet, but the devices on the server do not, and in fact cannot connect to the default gateway at all. So I thought before you had to use this NAT object, but that wasn't working for me before, so let me just try it now. Okay, so now I've got no route to host. So you do need to use the cloud object. Oops. Oh, it looks like it just all of a sudden reset itself for some reason. Not sure what happened there. Oh, maybe that GNS3 restore command. Yeah, that probably was similar to a reboot. All right, so I got to open up GNS3 again. All right, so I need to wait for that to wake up. Oh, it got disconnected again. It's kind of too bad. Really not sure what's going on. I think it's still going through the restoration process. So I'll be back in a minute. I just need to refill my hibiscus tea. All right, I'm back, and it changed the sweater, put the air on as well. It was getting pretty hot in here. So error when connecting to server. Yep, it's still doing the restoration. Let's see how far it is coming along with that. So it looks like it's ready to go. Oops. So it looks like when I did the system restore, I accidentally changed the version to 2.2.9 dev 2. That's very, very bad thing unless I can get the newest version for my clients. So let's see if I can get that. So nope, I can only get 2.2.8. I can't get 2.2.9 dev 2. So I'm going to have to find a way now to undo that that change that I made, which to me seems impossible. I also think I will need to, what my problem was I didn't have a network adapter. I've got to create a custom network adapter. I remember doing that with my other server. It was just a long time ago. So I need to find a way to change it back to 2.2.8. Did not realize I was going to be changing the OS version on it. And then additionally, I need to create a custom adapter. So GNS3 network. Yeah, VMware network adapter settings. This is probably what I need to do. So I don't remember the guide I used initially to set this up, but hopefully I can find it, because I would have just found it through Google search earlier. I think I can actually kind of freeball it, because I know what I need to do. I need to make it so that devices within my GNS lab can communicate with devices on my home network. So I pretty much know what I need to do. I can freeball it. I think for now, though, I'm going to focus on getting that version back to 2.2.8. Really unfortunate that it just randomly changed. Aha! So really nice and easy. It's going to, it could potentially lose some data, but I don't really have any data that's super important at this point. Probably should do a snapshot at some point, though. I could probably do one after this goes back to 2.2.8. All right. And then while that's going, I think I can set up a new adapter under here. So I've got to add a port group, and I think it's going to be GNS3, and then, yep, my virtual switch, security, no VLAN, add. All right, and now I've got to, yep, so now I've got to add some things to this. I remember doing this. It's been a while, though. So actions, we can edit settings, we can, oh, that's all I can do is edit the settings. Okay, so I thought I did more than just that. I'm not sure what I need to do, but I'll try this. I'll try just leaving this, because you notice it's well, actually no. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I did before. Oh, here we go. There's more options up here. So, oh, I think this might have been what I did. I added a virtual switch. Yeah, I remember I did something to make that really seamless, so that if I just drop that cloud on there, I can access the public internet. But unfortunately, I don't remember what I did. I'm just going to delete this one here for now, if I can. Okay, and then once I've got this, yep, so it seems to be working now. So I'll pull up the client. Hopefully the client works. Although it is saying, yeah, it's still saying that it's on the wrong version. So let's try that again and maybe take a closer look at the messaging and see why it did not complete. Oh, so it says it's already, it says a number of things are already at the newest version. But we don't want to go to the newest version, we want to go back a version. Here we go. Permission denied, error during upgrade process. Oh yeah, I remember doing this. I remember this. So let me take a screenshot of that because I remember I had to do this. It was a giant pain in the A, but I was able to get around this. So this will be good to have on video because this is a giant headache that I was able to figure out. So the way I figured this out is I went to the shell. So it's saying that it doesn't have permissions to go to get index lock. So what I did is just did cd home GNS3 server dot get or server and then ls-al where I get the permissions, ls-al for .git, or sorry, ls-al, oops, oh, where'd it go? I'll have to get back in there. I think I hit Control W by accident, but it's not too hard to get back in there. There we go. Yep, and I'm right where I left off. Oh, okay, so Control W is a Linux hotkey, but it's also a browser hotkey, and the browser hotkeys are overriding my Linux hotkey, so I can't use Control W the way I would normally at a Linux terminal. So I gotta be careful about that. Okay, so here's my Git files, and what I need to change is it says permission is denied, so I'm going to be changing those permissions. So now I'm going to need to do a sudo. Okay, so now if I do that same command here, you can see it's got full permissions. So let's go into that repo. Look at the permissions there. So let's do a change mod 777 on everything. I want to see if I can make it recursive. Yeah, okay, so it's a capital R. Oops, and I did Control W again, just instinctually, which doesn't work if I've got it in a browser. Okay, so I need a capital R. Perfect. And I want it to be 777 for everything. Perfect. So ls-al, everything is now full permissions. So I won't have a permissions error now when I change the when I change the version. So unfortunately, this GNS3 restore looks like it changes the version. Kind of surprised that it does that. It said that all you needed to do was, it said that all it would do was just restore that GUI that was up before, but it very clearly does more than that. Looks like it changes the version as well. But now that I've got the permissions, different. Hopefully it will be fine. Yeah, I remember I had to do this before. It was a nightmare to figure out. I didn't write down what I did, so but it was such a complete nightmare that I remembered it. And of course, it just says it right there what it's doing. It says that permission is denied. Permission denied. So. Now, of course, if this were prod, I would not recommend that strategy, just giving full permissions to the folder. But GNS is not a prod thing. So yep, now we can see that it's moving it to 2.2.9 dev 2 for some reason. Even though all I wanted to do was restore the GUI, I did not want to change the version. So that message was very misleading. It just said if you don't see the GUI anymore, type in GNS3 restore, but it did not say that you would be changing the version and it would no longer be compatible with your client versions. So. Okay, now that I've got permissions set up, I can do the downgrade to 2.2.8 and have it be compatible with my client version. There might be another error message if some other folder needs its permission changed as well, but that's not difficult. Yeah, it just kind of sucks that I've got to spend a whole video on this. This is a lunchtime video too, so I've only got an hour. Yep, so now it's doing stuff with that folder. You can see it's in there. So changing those permissions allowed it to continue on. Upgrade to V228 complete. So rebooting, restarting, and hopefully it persisted all my images and stuff. If it didn't, it's not a big deal to add them again. It's just some time lost. And let's take a look at, now, was there a way to elevate my security settings without what I did there? I do see that there's server configuration, there's also security. So I wonder if there's a way to, nope, so that's just enabling authentication to the actual console line, it looks like. Yeah, so here's where I can change the port. Might want to do that, but for now, I think everything's good. So we can see we are now, we're still at 2.2.9 dev 2. Don't know why. It did say that it was successfully at 2.2.8, but it very clearly was not telling the truth. So I guess I'll just try it again. Or maybe I needed to reboot or something in order for it to take effect. Unfortunately, this was a pretty long process, so. Yeah, well, maybe I can do a Google search because I'm sure it's going to be the same process. And then if it doesn't work again, I'll try a reboot. But in the meantime, I do need to figure out how to set up my server. So I'm pretty sure it was just, I found it from the official. So if I go download and then I go to here, download the GNS3 VM, and I click learn more, I'm pretty sure I got to it by doing that somehow. So yeah, here's the downloading. So I'm pretty sure if I remember right, there is some kind of documentation for setting up a yeah, for setting up access. Ah, here it is, Cloud Node support. Yep. So perfect. Okay. All right. So I can close all these tabs now. Oh, it looks like it's done. Unfortunately, it looks like it still did not do the thing that it said it would. So let's try rebooting it. Maybe it has to do that in order for those changes to take effect. They might just be queued up, but not yet put in place. All right, and I'll be back. I need some more hibiscus, so I'll pause the video and be back. Okay, I'm back. I've got some bad news. It's still at 2.2.9 dev 2, even though I downgraded it to the other version. All right, so yeah, I'm really not sure what to do. I do remember having this issue before, but I just don't remember how I fixed it. So let me read the docs better. I might need to just straight up reinstall it. So yep, I did that. Yep, I did that. Everything was fine there. I have not a very big data store in there. Okay, yep, I did all that. So I need to allow nested virtualization. So let's do edit. Then it's going to be virtual hardware. Then it's going to be hardware virtualization. Probably under CPU. Yep, there it is. So it has to be checked in my case. Oh, actually, so do they want it unchecked or do they want it checked? Okay, you need to check it. Okay, so that has to be checked. Yep, I've got it checked. And I need the cloud node support. You know what? That might be why it's not able to do it, because it doesn't have cloud node support. This is why I chose 3080 before. Okay, so I missed a lot of steps when I set this up. So let's go back and do them. So I'm going to do, I'm probably going to shut this down. I remember this happened before. I don't remember how I fixed it, but I do remember it was a giant pain. Oh, and I've got 5 minutes left, but let's add that port group. So we're going to click cancel, go to networking, add port group, and then we're going to name it GNS3, and click security, and then accept on promiscuous mode, MAC address changes, and forged transmits. VLAN 0, virtual switch 0. All right, and click add. Perfect. So now we've got to actually go into the settings for the virtual machine and click edit. And then it's going to be virtual hardware network adapter 1. And we're going to choose GNS, and oh, I named it wrong. I'm going to fix that name, it kind of bugs me. Go. I've got 4 minutes left, that's plenty of time. So I can do edit. There we go. Oops. Network adapter, perfect. GNS3, perfect. So here we go. All right, so now I'm not going to have that issue where I can't ping the default gateway. Okay, so now I have to go into GNS3 itself, but unfortunately, I've got the wrong version. I wish there were a way to just maybe upload or update the version I'm using. So it's not up. So I'm going to change this port to 3080. Okay, and then it looks like in the documentation, the next step. Oh. Okay, so this is if I want to keep data local and run some workload on my computer. Nope, I do want the data to be remote, so I do want it to be set up as the main server. I don't want any of the data to be on my local computer. All right, so I think that's going to be it. Unfortunately, big problem. I updated the OS somehow by accident, and I wasn't able to not update that. So join me in the next video. Thanks for watching.